What's going on, Bulls fans? We have an exciting game, a big fourth quarter from the Bulls that pushes them over a win. What's going on, Bulls fans? We got a big game to talk about with the Chicago Bulls having a big fourth quarter that pushes them into victory over the Brooklyn Nets. So much stuff happened in this game. Bulls really kind of turned it around in certain ways, but also showed some of those flaws that we've seen up in the last couple of games as well. But we're going to get into it all right after this.
Over Harris. Bulls lead by one. Dosunmu all the way. Caught. Levine just looked at JB DeRozan and said, "You got to see that." Dosunmu for three.
Okay, so Bulls fans, again, I do apologize that I didn't get this video out right after the game. Real life happened. So I do apologize. We'll get back to having our game recaps right after the game, and also get back to get in touch with Juju Knows Best, and we'll get back to doing some of those live recaps right after the game as well, probably in the end of this week, next week for sure. But anyway, the Bulls with a 118 over 95 victory against the Brooklyn Nets. A big game here from the Bulls, and a game in which, you know, Zach LaVine, especially in that first quarter, showed that he could get to any spot that he wanted to. Ayo Dosunmu, again, just showing that Ayo, you know, all everything aside, right? But Bulls problems aside, Ayo being a rookie aside, Ayo is flashing some things that's going to make him a very big part of this Bulls roster. Now, I probably will drop this on another video, but I do at some point want to talk about how if Ayo keeps ascending, it's going to be very, very hard for the Bulls to keep him unless he just wants to stay here. And the reason why I say that is that second-round picks don't have those same protections that first-round picks have. We've seen it a lot in the league in general. And so, like, Ayo, after the second year of this deal, becoming an unrestricted free agent, could get very pricey for the Bulls. Now, that does come around the same time that they can get out of Caruso's deal, they can get out of DeRozan's deal, and things like that. You know, and at this point, it's 2 years away. But I do want to, at some point, want to talk about how if Ayo keeps playing this well, it's going to be very hard for the Bulls to keep him, or very expensive. And the reason why I say that is that for a lot of the fans who say that because of Ayo's ascent, it automatically means Kobe has to leave. Again, the financial part of that could get very, very tricky. So we'll have a conversation about that. That'll probably be a video for another day. But let's focus on this win. The Bulls did exactly what a lot of you guys said in the comments, and that was kind of let Kevin Durant do his thing and control everyone else. Really, the only people that on the Nets who had a big game were Durant, and then LaMarcus Aldridge. Also, James Harden did have 14, but not a very efficient or effective night shooting for James Harden at all. You know, he was 4 for 11 from field goals and 3 for 7 from three. It had a plus minus of -23, but the Bulls did, and even Durant in scoring 38 points had a plus minus of -22. But the Bulls played very solid defense, and like I said in my preview video, the Bulls turned this game into an ugly game down the stretch that they were able to capitalize on. A 42-point fourth quarter scoring wise for the Chicago Bulls. And no starter scored over 3. This was a balanced attack, and this is kind of what we wanted to see the Bulls get back to. Not as much. We did have some isolation ball, but when it came into crunch time, the ball flowed very freely. Zach LaVine, 10 for 17 in this game, plus minus. Every Bull who got minutes had a positive plus minus in this game. Ayo with the biggest one with a plus minus of plus 22, showing why Ayo is out there 6 for 10 for shooting, only 1 for 4 from 3-pointers, but 15 points off the bench, and Ayo just 7 rebounds as well for Ayo. Just a really big game for Ayo Dosunmu. You guys have been calling me out about the O at the end of his name. I apologize. But yeah, a very big game from him. Tony Bradley as well with a big plus minus, only 4 points, but he really, you know, showed his ass rebounding wise. Derrick Jones Jr. got minutes in this game as well. And this is what we wanted to see from the Bulls playing. It was beautiful basketball. And yes, Vooch as well still didn't have a super effective game, only 5 for 14 in shooting, but like Vooch has showed is that he comes up with big plays in crunch time, and Vooch had big plays in crunch time again. I think at this point, like, we're saying that it's a slow start, and maybe it might just be, you know, in as many videos as I've talked about Lonzo Ball's role on this team is just not going to be the traditional point guard as long as DeMar DeRozan is also on the team. But Vooch, we may just need to realize that he's not going to be in the best scoring positions for him. Maybe he's not going to be a 20-point per game scorer this season, but he's going to be a player that that the Bulls can rely on, and that he does show up big in certain games. And the Bulls needed this. We are now 7-3, still very good record. Even going into this stretch, we knew this was going to be a difficult stretch, and the Bulls have still played very well in this stretch. We started off with back-to-back wins against Utah and Boston, lost back-to-back games against the Sixers, and now we won again against Brooklyn. The Bulls are legit, and as much as our doubters want to talk about us, like, the thing with the Bulls is that with our defense and our brand of defense and that we play, and the fact that we had, like, and this is something that I'm going to keep nailing home every time I talk about this team, we have been in every game in the fourth quarter that we've played so far this season, regardless of any big runs or anything. We have, and when it came time to the game being decided, we've always had a chance to win every game, and that's all you can ask for. That is so much different than what the team that we've had the last couple of seasons. The Bulls have been and have shown that they can be in every single game and every opponent that they play against. So, as down as it seems like we can get sometimes, and as sucky as those back-to-back losses were, it's going to happen in the season. But this game was a really good game for the Chicago Bulls to show up and play the way that they did. Vooch with 13 rebounds as well. We had a very solid rebounding game. We out-rebounded the Brooklyn Nets 56-42 in this game. And so that's what you want to see. Now, the assists, we had 21 assists. You would like to see the assist a little bit higher, but I think in the first couple of games we were in the 30 assist range. But either way, effective game from the Bulls. Didn't shoot very well from three at all. And that's the thing that is really going to change the dynamic of this team, is that if our three-pointers ever start falling at a higher clip and a more efficient clip, the Bulls are just going to be dangerous, and we're going to have those scoring droughts. That's what this team has shown so far. It really kind of brings you back to the Bulls of latter years. Is that it's like I think it was the year before Derrick Rose, so it was that year that I think a couple years before then. Is that the Bulls they always had those stretches where it seemed like our shots just weren't falling, and we have that on this team as well. Every team has that to a degree, but this was a good game. This was a good game. Still no minutes from Alize Johnson. And, we had a couple of comments. We saw Matt Thomas. We saw 2 minutes each from Matt Thomas and Troy Brown Jr. in this game as well. I do think, and here's the thing that I want to talk about. I think with the way that DJ has played, until something happens otherwise, I really do think that Troy Brown Jr., as much promise as he did show, and, I was excited to have Troy Brown Jr. on this team. That's $7 million that he's going to have next year, and I believe it's a team option, so or at least partially guaranteed, so the Bulls can get out of paying that full contract and free up some cap space. The more that this goes on, the more I think that Troy Brown Jr. is not long for the Bulls, even if he's on the roster for the rest of this season. But I don't know, and it's not to shit on the kid or anything like that, but Derrick Jones Jr. has just, in the minutes that he's played, even if it's not scoring, he has done something in every minute that he's played on the team to where it's really kind of made that obsolete. And I know a lot of people are questioning, well, how do the minutes? Where does Kobe get minutes? Kobe's going to get every chance to succeed. And I know the knee jerk reaction, especially with Io playing the way that he has, is to think that it's marked out Kobe White. But listen, Kobe has played out of position since he's been here. He's going to get every opportunity to show what he can and can't do for this team. But let's focus back on this game. Lonzo Ball, a solid game, especially defensively. Again, not an effective game shooting wise, but again, every starter scored in double digits. That's what you want to see from this game. Every starter with a positive plus minus. That's what you want to see from this Bulls team. This Bulls team is very much, at least showing thus far, it's going to be DeRozan, it's going to be Levine, and everybody else is going to eat based off how they can get in the game. And Io's heart, right, is in the spark plug that he provides is so important for this team, especially in a game where, on a team where our bench scoring has, I would like to see just the percentage of Bulls bench points that have come from Io DeSumo, because I really do think it's probably been a very big percentage of it, probably disproportionately big percentage of it when you think about like just when the bench does have a big night, it usually means that Io had a big night. And that's a lot, especially coming from a rookie. But this game was just great to see the Bulls come out and play this well, especially in the fourth quarter, to take a demanding lead in the fourth quarter. When it got it pretty tight there, they lost the lead there after being up by like 9 or 10 points early in the game. But it was good to see the Bulls take a fourth quarter and say, no, this is our house. You're in Chicago. We are taking this win, all hell or high water. And the Bulls did that. And this was just a great game to see as a Bulls fan. Let me know what your favorite part of this game was. What are any things that stood out to you? Do you agree with me that, Vooch's role just may not be having the scoring impact that he's typically had in his career? And then also, like I said, Lonzo has played great on this team. And, Lonzo's contributions are so far outside of just what shows up in the box score. You actually have to watch the game to see all the ways that Lonzo Ball makes things easier for his teammates on the defensive end, on the offensive end, and just some of the smart plays that he makes out there. This was a really good game to see from our Chicago Bulls. That's all I have to say on that. Let me know what you guys think down below. Like, share, subscribe, all that good things. Thank you so much for continuing your support of this channel. I love you guys. Like I like to end every video on, go Bulls. I love you. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.